Hello again, Steve here with a few comments about a video I was just watching. As some of you know, I'm on a little bit of a run here with this Jordan Peterson stuff because it is very, very powerful, and it's right along the lines of what what I like to work with, which is helping people to improve the quality of their lives through a deep, deep introspective look into themselves, a self-knowledge approach in a way, right? I was listening to a video that was posted by somebody called Intense5, a YouTube publisher, and the video is called Jordan Peterson Dash: How to Stop Being Lazy and Progress in Life. And what was interesting about that, among other things, of course, is that at approximately minute 50 or minute 6 colon 50, 6 minutes and 50 seconds, there's a diagram, a slide that comes up, which looks something like this one here. And on the bottom, on that bottom box, it says, what is the unbearable present? And then there's three arrows going up on an angle, and they all say a planned sequence of behavior. And the upper box to the upper right says, what should be the ideal future? And you can check this out. Just type in that. I should even leave a link in the description below for the video, and just go to minute 650. Yeah, what's interesting about this is that it's such a parallel to what I've been talking about for quite a number of years, which I call the continuum of advancement, which I first wrote about and published in a small periodical, which I have a copy of, but I'd have to dig it up, back about, I'd say, close to 10 years ago. I've also, in 2012, when I published my book, Free Your Inner Genie, I had a version of it in there too, on page 98. There's a picture of it there. And also, when I published my book, Coffee Chat, in 2015, I published two versions of it, one on page 12, and wrote about it in there. Actually, three versions of it in here, because I talk about it with reference to different topics. I can find this. Yeah, page 123, it's there again, and also on page 65. So what this is, and you know, it's interesting actually, because I was listening to a conversation, I believe it was between Stefan Molyneux and Mike Cernovich a few months ago, and they talked about how sometimes they get accused of colluding, right? Of course, there's always the leftists are going after them, and they're always about collusion. There's got to be collusion going on. Because they accuse people of being conspiracy theorists, but what they're throwing out is conspiracy theories all the time, very often. And you know, classic projection, right? And the reason they were talking about that is because so often there's this synergy of thought that comes out of from people who think about certain ideas, and they come to similar conclusions. And I think the reason is when you're using reasoning, and you're very rigorous on that, and you're committed to truth, then certain things that can't be refuted, you can't substitute sophistry for it, because you don't allow that, or other falsehoods or other ideologies. Insert X ideology, right? Then you have to come to similar conclusions. And this is why, you know, these are aha moments when I see charts like this that are so similar to what I deduced many years ago as the human nature within us. You know, because what I talked about in this continuum of advancement is that we desire a change, I call it a better quality of life. That's the sort of ingrained nature within each and every one of us, even the lower animals. Like, you know, when I was a kid, I used to take a magnifying glass and shine it at ants, and I could see that they would react right away, right? They would react to what is the unbearable present, right? And they would want what should be the ideal future. The ideal future was, let's get the hell out of this blazing heat, right? And they would go through that's not necessarily a plan, but they would go through a sequence of behaviors. If we could analyze what actually goes on, the feedback mechanisms to the heat and so on. And so when we're unconscious of things, we go through planned sequence of behaviors. But the difference with this sort of thing, what this is probably alluding to, right? This is probably alluding to, and certainly what I'm talking about here is that there are steps that we go through, which I talked about in the last video I did, that we go through this process of, feeling the pain or the discomfort in the moment and having it be our sort of catapult so that we look the other way. We're looking at pain of being overweight, being poor, being lonely or whatever, and it helps us, it encourages us to look to the possibility, right? And that possibility, in that looking to the possibility, is sparking the desire for it, right? And then to move on, the planned sequence is the creation of the vision or the plan of action. What could be done? What does it actually look like, even, for that matter? Not so much the plan of action at this point. What does it actually look like? As in, looking at drawings of houses if we wanted a house, and seeing what the plan looks like, and looking at our finances and who could do this and who could do that. That is the kind of a visioning process. And then we get into the process of learning how to be confident enough to believe that it's possible. And some people would use the term faith, having faith in oneself, faith in others, faith in our, in the future and whatever. Trust, whatever it is. When we have all of that together, we move beyond being just daydreamers. We move into the realm of will to act. And when we willfully act, that's another step. We begin the process of actually taking steps to get one goal completed after another. And each one that gets completed, we feed back into that greater sense of belief. The vision becomes even more clear. The desire can become stronger. We can mirror back at the pain of why we're doing it. It gives us purpose, right? Very important for men. And then the degree to which we are able to channel this in a very strict and strong way, we can get a greater degree of results. I want to share this once again because I saw this and it was just so similar. And this isn't the first time I've seen something so similar. It's just, and I think it has to do with what Stefan Molyneux and Mike Cernovich were talking about, which is that there's no collusion going. I've never met Jordan Peterson. I've never met this guy who did this Intense 5 video, put this together, this compilation, and stuck that screen in there. I've never met any of these people. I just happened to come across and I go, holy shit. That's like taking part out of what I've been talking about for years on this continuum of advancement. How, we're all on this continuum called time, right? And as we go along each day, we want to improve the quality of our lives. And in this moment, it's never, we have this sense of dissatisfaction because life is what it is. Life has pains, foibles, it has discomforts and so on. And we always want to improve our lot in life, right? So we plot that out. And what we plot out for what we want is represented in Y, right? This Y-axis, the WHY, I call it the Y-axis. And then we go through these steps along the way to achieve. But when we get there, everything just gets moved forward. It's always getting moved forward to the moment, the discomfort of the moment, which constantly drives us. It's an interesting way of looking at life, but it seems to be fairly close to what's actually going on. And to understand that is to have greater self-knowledge. And to have greater self-knowledge is to just be able to understand the machinery we're working with, which is ourselves, right? And it gives us a little bit of comfort to it, in a way that we're no longer just being bounced around completely. I mean, lots of things we're being bounced around on as we age. Look at a picture of me, flashback 20 years ago, I look a little bit younger, and 20 years forward, it's going to be that much older. There's lots of things that govern our lives, for sure, but within that, we have a degree. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's a great degree, but it's what matters. We have a degree of controllability. We can make decisions. I can get up, go open the door, and walk out the door. I have that choice, and we have a freedom of choice to plot, to some extent, our future and make a difference in the quality of our lives, whether we move down or move up. And the inherent nature of us is to constantly attempt to tick ourselves up in our quality of life, which is demonstrated very clearly here, and it's demonstrated over and over again in several of these works that I've published. Hope this was helpful. Stevie here again. Great chatting. Talk again soon. And once again, remember, like, subscribe, and share if you like what I'm doing.